Hello and welcome to the watering hole. Vice Rhino here. Joining me again is Megan Lewis of Digital Hammurabi.
Hi.
How are you tonight, Megan?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I am good. I'm good. So, Megan had the misfortune of being the first person to say, "Oh, I'm available," when I said, "Hey, who wants to stream with me this evening?"
I wouldn't say misfortune. This is always fun. Admittedly, the subject matter is
Yeah.
infuriating. So, there will be cursing, I'm sure.
Well, yeah. Hopefully, I'm going to be taking a bit of a different approach than a lot of people have that I've seen. I found a Politico article that well, we'll get there when we get there. Um, but yeah, so I'm actually if I'm a bit frazzled today, it's because I actually forgot that I was going to be streaming, and so I put the kids in front of the TV and I started napping on the couch. And then as I was fading in and out of consciousness, I remembered that, oh shoot, tonight's a stream night. I should probably put the kids to bed at some
His
point.
children need to be somewhere else.
And and then when I went to start the stream, YouTube was doing so, and it's been doing it to me for weeks. It used to just be if I reused stream settings from a previous stream, it would happen. So I was just like, okay, well, it's a pain in the butt to create a new stream every time, but fine, whatever. So I create the new stream, but I create the stream and it says, oh, sorry, after you go through and put everything in, it then just deletes all of that and says, oh,
Yeah.
sorry, we couldn't create this for you. So I tried scheduling it. It couldn't create it. I tried on my other channel. It couldn't create it. Eventually, what I had to do was create it through OBS instead of through YouTube's interface, which I don't like doing that because, I don't know, it feels like I don't have enough options there. And then OBS said that it failed. It said that it was not able to create the stream. But then when I went back into Creator Studio, there was a stream there that was kind of half created. And then I was able
YouTube is just
yeah,
it's a glorious clusterfuck.
yeah, so if I'm a bit frazzled today, it's because I was prepared for an evening of napping, and then YouTube was fighting me when I had the worst possible start to a stream that I wasn't expecting. Oh, okay. Oh, Adam, yeah. Oh yeah, this is new. I can actually show comments in the thingy. So Adam says the constant anticipation of will he stream this week or won't he? Yeah, I try to announce when I don't I try to make the streams regular, and I try to announce when I'm not going to be streaming. With that in mind, at the moment I intend to still stream next week, but there is a higher than zero chance that I will not be able to, because I have to go for jury selection on Monday. And my expectation is that it's just going to be one day where I sit in a room, it's hot and stuffy, and there's too many people, and they don't even get around to me because there's I'm juror number 4,000 or something. So it just won't even get to me, and it's just a wasted day, and then back to business as usual on Tuesday. But there is also a chance that if this is a contentious case or something, and they're getting really in depth with their jury selection, that the jury selection could last up to a week, apparently, in some cases. Wow. So I might not have a Friday video next week. So if I can't get a Friday video done, I'm not going to be able to, I'm going to use my streaming time for working on normal video stuff. So I plan on streaming next week, but if I'm not, that's because I have to work for actual video stuff, because jury duty. Jury duty is fun.
Being a grown-up is the best.
Yeah. And the worst part is, so in Canada, I don't know how it is in the States, but in Canada we actually get reimbursed if you live a certain distance away from the courthouse, they give you gas money. I am 2 kilometers too close to the courthouse for gas money. It's 40 kilometers is the cutoff, and I'm 38 kilometers away.
Awesome.
And that the same thing happened with the schools and school districts. The kids are literally 100 meters away from where we would need to be in order for them to be on the bus. So it's like as they're walking to school, they can see the kids that they are in class with waiting for the bus at the corner. It's like, I know they got to draw the line somewhere, but why'd it have to be at our house?
But
All right. Are we ready to get into some uteruses? Uteri?
let's go for it. I don't know what the plural is. I think uteruses.
Uteruses.
I think.
Yeah. So the angle that I'm going at for this is I would like everybody to remember that the religious right did not always care about abortion. It was not an issue. All right. Yeah, we've got the Kitsune Cavalier says it may be a wasted day for the individual, but just by being there, you are aiding the court system. I get it. It's my civic duty. I can still complain about it. I can still say it sucks, but I do understand the purpose behind it. So you're not wrong, but I'm also not wrong. So yeah. So the religious right didn't care about abortion, and I learned a lot from reading this article. So let's just get into it. So the ruling, it's a vindication for the religious right, the culmination of nearly 5 decades of working to outlaw abortion. So it's nearly 5 decades. I mean, they didn't even start trying to outlaw abortion until after abortion, like after Roe versus Wade. Like some of the names of people that were actually in favor of Roe versus Wade in here just completely shocked me. But so if we look at the history of the movement, white evangelicals in the 1970s did not mobilize against Roe versus Wade, which they considered a Catholic issue. It was mostly the Catholics that were
against it.
That were against that. The evangelicals didn't care. And evangelicals and Catholics typically don't get along very well together. Like that's
generally speaking.
That's where you find the Jack Chick things, where the Catholic Church is actually the beast of Revelation. So yeah, the thing that the religious right, or the evangelicals rather than the Catholics, were kind of fighting for in the 1970s was they were defending segregation. They were fighting against the Civil Rights Act. And that includes Jerry Falwell's Bob Jones University.
Also a very poor choice. And, like...
Yeah.
Discrimination and just discrimination in a different direction.
Yeah, no, this kind of shows how they've always been garbage.
Yeah.
But they don't actually care about what issue they're being garbage about. They just need to have something to be garbage about.
Yeah. Control people in some way.
We have Seidel is fucking awesome. Love that guy. From LFC 1892. Andrew Seidel is pretty awesome.
He is.
I imagine, yeah, I am already kind of aware of this. Like, I was aware of this before this article, and I think I got that from his book on the founding myth. I don't recall, though. But, yeah, Andrew Seidel is pretty awesome. So yeah, what they're saying is that the abortion myth is the fiction that the genesis of the religious right was in opposition to abortion. So if we look at the historical record, in 1968, Christianity Today, a right-wing evangelical magazine, issued a statement acknowledging the ambiguity surrounding the issue, which they said allowed for many different approaches.
Wow.
Even if they come out against it, just saying that it's ambiguous and there are a lot of different approaches.
That's shockingly nuanced for an evangelical publication.
Yeah. They say, so in the statement, they said, whether the performance of an induced abortion is sinful, we are not agreed. But about the necessity of it and the permissibility of it under certain circumstances, we are in accord. So they all agreed at this evangelical right-wing magazine. And this is a collection of their theologians, 26 heavyweight theologians from throughout evangelical Christianity. All of them agreed that it's okay sometimes.
Necessary.
Sometimes it's necessary. And
That's
like they disagreed about the whens and the wheres and
yeah.
the reasons behind it, but it wasn't just a flat out no, never do it, which is amazing. It's shocking. So let's see. The founder of the magazine, Carl F.H. Henry, said, "A woman's body is not the domain and property of others."
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Harold Linsell, the editor that took over after Henry, said, "If there are compelling psychiatric reasons from a Christian point of view, mercy and prudence may favor therapeutic abortion." So that's not even saying just the physical health of the mother.
No.
That's mental well-being. So
that's incredible.
I might be wrong on this, but it is possible that like the way I interpret this is that he's basically saying we're not judging women who are getting abortions. That's a decision between them and their doctor. If their doctor has decided that it's medically necessary for whatever reason, whether it be psychiatric or otherwise, that's the
business.
decision between the doctor and the person getting the abortion. We got nope, wrong button. Gail Dorbin said, "How did I miss this article?" I didn't mean to highlight that, but there we go. I meant this one. From Womb to Tomb, the Catholic Church. Yeah, then in 1971, the Southern Baptist Convention, the SBC, the guys that are like the big shit show right now, they passed a resolution calling for the legalization of abortion. They then reaffirmed that resolution in 1974 and in 1976. Both of those are after Roe. So after Roe was passed, they reaffirmed their resolution that abortion should be legal. The Southern Baptist Convention.
This is like, I feel like, and I know a lot of people have said this, we're in the wrong timeline. Like somewhere, somehow, we hopped over to a place where people have just gone nuts, and this is like looking back at a time when like people had empathy and sympathy for other human beings.
To be clear, don't give them too much credit. They were still fighting to keep segregation going.
Oh sure, absolutely. Still horrific people, but
But as far as women's rights are concerned,
yeah.
It seems like the hardcore right-wing evangelicals were more liberal in the 1970s than they are today.
That's
scary.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane. I suppose as long as they weren't black women.
Well, I don't know, because we kind of talked about this off air earlier. Is that like the reason they started pushing on the abortion issue is because societally speaking, they couldn't get away with still pushing for segregation in the 1980s. So they pivoted. They needed their wedge issue, so they pivoted to abortion. And I suspect that's because banning abortion will have a larger negative impact on people of color.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a way that they can kind of still keep the racism thing, but cloak it
without
under
being
protecting babies.
Overtly, yeah.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you can't be against protecting babies, can you? It's like, that's not what it is.
It's not really the discussion we're having.
No. So here we have it's just I'm just reading these friggin' quotes because it's just like W.A. Criswell was a pastor of the First Baptist Church in Dallas and the president of the Southern Baptist Convention, issued the statement, "I have always felt that it was only after a child was born and had a life separate from its mother that it became an individual person, and it has always, therefore, seemed to me that what is best for the mother and for the future should be allowed." That's the president of the SBC. Well, it says sometime president of the SBC, so that makes me feel like he was like in and out. His pullout game from the SBC was pretty good.
Nice.
That's okay. And then so Francis Schaeffer is the guy who kind of started the pivot towards focusing on abortion. And Billy Graham would not join him for anti-abortion stuff in the 1970s. Billy Graham was like, no, abortions are fine. Like,
That's wow.
Sorry, that's just my that's Adobe telling me that I have updates available. And then we have James Dobson, who founded Focus on the Family, a notoriously liberal organization, right? Those guys, Focus on the Family, always, yeah. So he did so. The way this is written, it's unclear whether James Dobson or Focus on the Family later became an implacable foe of abortion. Probably both, if we're being honest. But he acknowledged in 1973 that the Bible was silent on the matter, and therefore it was plausible for an evangelical to believe that a developing embryo or fetus was not regarded as a full human being. So that's not coming out in favor of abortion, but that is kind of being like, I don't want to take a stance here. Like, it's not like he clearly doesn't.
I don't personally agree with it, but
yeah, well,
from the Bible, you can't make an argument against it.
I mean, the Bible absolutely does mention abortion, but it's the bitter water test in Numbers 5. There is a bit of ambiguity around that, but it's an abortion.
Yeah.
And so he's wrong there, but even if he were right, he's still like, he's just basically coming out being like, yeah, I don't like it, but whatever. It's not my concern. Like, there's nothing in the Bible about it. There's nothing in the Bible forbidding it, is probably what he meant. Okay, and then we get according to Paul Weyrich, I don't know. I'm bad with names. I don't know. I just started on my main channel, actually like saying all my new patrons' names out loud at the end. I don't know why I did that, because like I'm letting people have the option. Like, if you've already been my patron, if you message me, I will say your name, because like I know there are some that want to stay anonymous, so I'm not gonna just do it without permission. But like, so like I'm looking through the list, I'm like, there are a lot of names there that I'm not gonna be able to say right. So, you know what? Let's just make that a bit.
Send me a
let's
phonetic
make that part of the bit. I'm gonna say it
want.
wrong, and I'm not. I'm just gonna unapologetically be like, yeah, I got it wrong, because that's my thing. And you know what? I thought I was pretty good with Japanese names, but then I had to name a Japanese scientist, and I got a bunch of comments from people like, "Oh, you completely mispronounced that." And then I couldn't find the guy because you mispronounced it so badly. It's just like
that Google can't work out what I'm trying to spell.
Yeah, I thought I was good at the Japanese names, because most Japanese names from my days in call centers, most Japanese names I found when they like when they're spelled out in English, not in English, in Latin characters.
Letters,
it's pretty much just say what the letters would normally say. It's just like it's pronounced. It's not like Nguyen is win. Like there aren't silent or X can make an SH sound in Chinese names. It took me a while to learn that one. So I thought I was pretty good at it, but like, nope. I'm just not. So Jerry Falwell Sr., the original Jerry Falwell, not the pants open Jerry Falwell. Well, I mean, maybe, but not on social media at least. He was like, so in the 1970s, the IRS started rescinding tax-exempt status of whites-only segregated academies, of which Bob Jones University was one, which is Jerry Falwell Sr. He called the civil rights movement the civil wrongs movement.
Oh, how funny.
Because he's clever.
Oh, very witty. Very witty.
So his place was segregated until 1967. And so like the main, it was tax things. They were opposing anti-segregation stuff because they wanted to keep tax money and because they didn't want to let black people in. And so when the IRS started cracking down on that, around the same time as Roe versus Wade happened, and people started, like, abortions started getting national attention, that's when, sorry, I'm skipping the like, a lot of this is just kind of outlining the, like, some of the history of the other cases, but I'm just gonna I'm skipping to the meat. So in 1978, the midterm elections in 1978, that's when the Weirich guy started noticing that the Catholics were handing out these anti-abortion pamphlets. And then in 1980, Ronald Reagan addressed the nation, or he addressed an evangelical group in Dallas. And when he brought up all of the right-wing talking points that we think of as right-wing talking points, is like, he brought up creationism. He was talking about how the Bible was the one book that if he were stranded on a desert island, that would be the one book that he would want. He criticized the decision for the IRS to remove tax exempt status from segregated institutions. He didn't mention abortion once. But this Weirich guy, when he noticed that the let's see, maybe I should have highlighted some of that, but yeah, I'm not sure where that is in here. But in one of the elections where the Democrats were favored to win very, very strongly, the Catholics were sending out their leaflets and whipping up their base to to action. That election had very low turnout, much lower than expected. And so as a result of the lower turnout, the Republicans won where the Democrats were expected to. Seems kind of familiar. Recent.
Where have we seen this before?
Yeah. So this is, and that's kind of a tangent issue where I want, like, I have been vocal about this before, and I know there are people that are probably watching now that disagree with me about this. But as much as it hurts, vote. Voting is important.
God, get out and vote.
Even if your Democratic guy, that your only choice for the Senate is Joe Manchin, vote for fucking Joe Manchin. He's an ass. We don't want Joe Manchin. We want someone better. Vote for someone that's not Joe Manchin for the primary for that. But if it ends up being a choice between Joe Manchin or a Republican, like, yeah, Joe Manchin sucks ass, but he's better than a Republican.
Whatever the Republicans are going to be feeling.
Yeah, no, I
likely.
was about to give Liz Cheney a no. She's got a terrible track record of, just because she's doing one thing right doesn't mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's the thing. What I've been saying is that, like, the Republicans are actively trying to take us back and regress our, like, take away rights. I say us. I'm Canadian, so I'm largely insulated from this. It is bleeding up, and we do still have to be aware of this and not get complacent. But, like, if you guys turned into Gilead, that's not going to hurt me too much personally, aside from the fact that I have friends down there that I care about. But yeah, so, like, it's better to vote for the people that suck and are not advancing as fast as you might like than it is to not vote for them and then allow the people that are going to be actively stripping you of your rights into office
to get in power,
because they have a fired up base that will come out and vote.
Yeah.
And yes, the system sucks. Absolutely, it sucks. I'm not going to contest that.
No.
Like, there are a lot of suggestions for how the system could be made better. One of the ways that it can't be made better is by not voting and letting the people that are going to be making it actively worse into office. Like, that's
not how this gets better.
And this is probably the hardest argument for me to have, because I understand the other side so well. I get that the idea of choking down a vote for Joe Manchin feels terrible. It feels like shit. I get that. I would not want to vote for that guy, but it's, I don't know, like,
it's demoralizing and it's depressing, but also, like, the Republican Party has been showing everyone where they're going for a really long time, and people have been saying this is what they're doing for a long time, and everyone has been, well, not everyone, a lot of people have been responding with, oh, it's not really happening. You're worrying over nothing. And now it's happening. Like, we can see the rippling effects of what they've been doing for years. And now is really not the time to say, oh, well, I don't like that the Democratic Party aren't as liberal as I would prefer.
Yeah. So Scott,
I mean, I can't even vote, and I live in this country. So for the love of God, please stop them taking my rights away.
So Scott Dillahunt says, we do have two parties fighting to see who can kiss Republican ass the most, though. Yes, but there is a difference between the two parties. One of them is fighting to see who can kiss their asses in the sense that they like they've gotten these rural Republicans to like vote against their own best interests, and then they will execute their own like the not against like the against their best interest things when they get in. Like they'll do stuff like cut taxes and cut programs and stuff that would actually be helping these people. The other ones will try to appeal to them by being centrist, by being Joe Biden's boring old guys who don't look like they're gonna make a lot of changes, but the changes that they do make are going to be in the right direction, at least, even if they are small. It's like Joe Biden has accomplished some things, it not as much as anyone really would like, but you can't tell me that 4 more years of Trump would have been better than Joe Biden. Is like we're seeing the fallout from the first 4 years of Trump.
Yeah.
And like anyone who think like there is a tangible difference between the two parties. Yes, the lesser of two evils choice sucks.
Still sucks.
But the fact of the matter is that one of them is a lesser evil. And in fact, sometimes they do good stuff. And also, like, primaries are important. Pay attention to the primaries. Vote in the primaries, because just having people like Bernie and who was the UBI guy? Was it Andrew Yang?
I don't know.
I think it was Yang. Having him on the stage, that opened the door for discussion for UBI. It pushed the conversation further to the left. So like Joe Biden, as soon as he got in, he signed a bunch of executive orders that were a lot more progressive than a lot of people thought he was going to do. And he probably wouldn't have if he hadn't been forced to be pulled to the left to talk about these issues that were being brought up by these other guys who I would have rather had pretty much any of the Democratic candidates other than Joe Biden, except maybe there were a couple that might have been was it Klobuchar? Was she the really bad one? I don't know. I don't remember. It was a long time ago.
Honest. Yeah.
There were so many of them. But most of the people there were further left from Biden. They pulled the conversation to the left. He had to address these things that are things that people care about now. Yang turned into a weirdo after he dropped. That doesn't really was he the UBI guy? Because he wasn't really that great when he was running. It was just like he had that one thing. Like any question they asked him, the answer was, "Oh, well, I'll give everybody $1,000 a month." It's like, okay, you have to like figure out how that's going to work, buddy. It's not, you can't just do it.
Universal income does interest me, though.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a discussion to be had there that would not have been had if it weren't for Andrew Yang. Or well, it hasn't really been had, but it wouldn't be in the national consciousness. It wouldn't have been even
brought up. Yeah.
All right. So anyway, that's kind of the history of how the evangelical right didn't really care about abortion when Roe versus Wade was passed. They actually, a lot of them supported Roe versus Wade.
That's insane to me.
Yeah.
That's absolutely insane.
Oh, Tulsi Gabbard. That might have been the one that I was thinking of. That was like absolutely terrible. Oh, Yang got into NFTs.
Yikes.
I'm kind of not surprised by that. But I mean, this is random Twitter comment guy, or Twitter. This isn't Twitter. This is YouTube. It's random YouTube comment guy. It's not necessarily the best source, but
no, they know everything. It's a fact.
I trust John Brown.
You can believe what you read on the internet.
I trust John Brown. I trust you, John. Okay. Next, we have, again, I'm trying to do fresh angles that I haven't seen before. So we all heard the story of the guy who works at Google who thought the AI was sentient. And did you read the transcript?
Mm-mm.
So I very much got the impression that this was this is a chatbot that is very, very good at sounding human.
Mm-hmm.
Very good at it. But he was the chatbot was not saying anything of its own volition. It was always responding to him. So when he prompts it with a question of, do you have emotions? The chatbot then scrubs conversations on the internet to see, like, do people like it when
you have emotions?
when the people responding to them have emotions, or would they prefer someone dead and robotic? Oh, they'd prefer emotions. So the chatbot comes back and says, yes, I have emotions. So it struck me as like very, very much like if you do any of the reading of like the like police interviews and how the experiments that they've done with false memory implanting,
mm-hmm.
it's very reminiscent of that, where like the police, without even necessarily, like the interrogators, not necessarily police, or researchers or police, could go either way depending on how they're looking at it. They are implanting the seeds of what they're expecting to hear out of the person by the way they're asking the question.
Mm-hmm.
And that was very much what I got out of that conversation, was that like this AI is not sitting there thinking on its own. It's not going to like just start typing one day without an input saying like, hey guys, I'm kind of bored right now, can someone come and chat with me?
Someone do
like,
something.
It's
yeah.
not going to initiate anything. It's waiting for someone to ask it stuff. So it's pretending to be sentient, and it's done a good job at that.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a super chat. Who's your buddy? Says, I wish we had some automated semis Yang talked about. It would really help with the supply chain issues right now. Yeah, didn't Musk actually like demo one of those? Is that another one of his things that like he did a prototype and then never did anything else with it? I think, wait, wasn't there like...
They've made a pickup.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about a semi, like an actual full big truck. There are electric trucks. There are also hydrogen-powered trucks. Like that tends to work better out where there's more hydrogen infrastructure, like California. But there's also I'm pulling from years old memories now, so there's a good chance I'm wrong on this. But I seem to recall there being something where there's like a convoy of trucks where the lead truck is driven by an actual truck driver, and then all the trucks behind it will like, they'll have like cameras on the front that are like reading a QR code on the back of the truck. Wow. And they use that to follow where that truck goes.
Interesting.
So yeah, there's a lot of potential technology there that I'm sure a lot of truckers are not happy about. Anyway, so this is not just going through the story of the Google employee that got tricked into thinking the AI was sentient. This is talking about how our perception of sentience, or actually, sentience might be the right word. There's a difference between sentience and sapience, where sentience is the ability to think and reason, whereas sapience is the ability to like reflect on your thinking. Mm-hmm. I might have drawn the line at like, because sapience literally means like wisdom, so like reasoning might be more in sapience than sentience. It's a fuzzy line. There's no like, this is like, there's no hard cutoff point. Anyway, I'm being pedantic at myself for like absolutely no reason. Rhino's right, can't do end-to-end delivery but can do port send. I don't know what that means. Is that referring to the truck convoy?
I think so.
Okay, so like they can't go all the way, but they can just like do highway driving or something. I don't know. Ooh, Watchmaker. Hi. You weren't subscribed already? What took you so long? Hi, Watchmaker. I know. Yes, I did promote this on Twitter. I think. I might have forgotten to hit send. Okay, back to the Google AI.
Mhm.
Sorry, I'm like I said, I'm kind of frazzled tonight, so I'm just like all over the place. It's fun. There are puppies coming.
Hooray, puppies.
So anyway, this article gets into how researchers are finding that that people tend to have this cognitive bias where when you see fluent language coming at you, when you're experiencing this is specific to text. So when you're seeing fluent text, your brain interprets that as there being a mind behind it. And this is because like reading text as a form of communication is, evolutionarily speaking, incredibly new. We have not had time to adapt to this at all. Like as far as evolution is concerned, the development of written text is like
Yeah.
so recent that it just, and it's so pervasive now that it just kind of hits us like a brick. But so we've kind of had to come up with these cognitive shortcuts where like, okay, well, we assume, like, we know that these things are written by people, so we just assume that there's a person on the other end. And so that kind of leads us into the ability to be tricked by automatically generated stuff.
If it's sufficiently fluent and coherent.
Yeah. So so the thing, like when we're reading it, our brain actually, like in any conversation, our brain takes shortcuts to try and create a model of what they think, of what your brain thinks the other person is trying to accomplish with this conversation. And then when you, it's a way that it's a way for you to kind of keep up with the conversation, where you can anticipate where they're going to be going with it, so you can have your response ready without actually missing out on the content of what they're saying. Obviously, some people take it too far, and you get the people that are just thinking of the next thing to say rather than
concentrating on what's being said.
Yeah. But like, so that's like this taken. No, not too extreme. That's like not enough of this, I guess, would be that. Yeah, so that's like a cognitive shortcut that we've developed that is now being tricked by these chatbots. And it can make it so that people that are even intimately familiar with these things, like a Google developer, you don't get to be a Google developer without being a pretty smart guy.
Yeah. With, one would assume, experience with computers.
Yeah. So yeah, and we've been trying to do this with computers since the 1950s. Like they developed n-gram models, which was basically they would statistically analyze text to see what words are supposed to come up next. And essentially these new AIs are exactly the same thing. They're just better at looking at the context. And there's some fun examples that they have. There's the GPT-3, which is another one of these chatbot things. They gave it the prompt, peanut butter and pineapples blank, and then like have the thing fill in the blank. So this is an example of something that like it might kind of come across as the GPT-3 having had an experience, because it came up with peanut butter and pineapples are a great combination. The sweet and savory flavors of peanut butter and pineapple complement each other perfectly. So you read that, you feel like someone just made themselves a peanut butter and pineapple sandwich and tried it and are now explaining their experiences. And your brain creates this whole model of a person doing that in order to come up with this. And so like it can be hard to separate that from a conscious person. But then on the flip side, one of the things they got in here, which I found interesting, is that this also works backward, where when you encounter someone online that has different typing or different text patterns than what you are comfortable with, like someone that might use a lot more slang, or someone that English is, or whatever language you're typing in is not their first language, and so it might come across as broken, then your brain sees that as not fluent, so it dehumanizes that person and makes it easier for you to like, okay, well, this isn't a real person with real experiences, so I'm going to dismiss what they have to say and treat them like garbage.
I wonder if that plays into I feel like older generations are more likely to dislike like tech speak, like stereotypical teenage tech speak that see you next Tuesday written letter C, letter U. I feel like my parents have more of an issue with that because they think it's like lazy and comes across as kind of stupid. And I wonder if there's a connection in there that when they read it, your brain says, actually, this is not fluent language. The person writing this is not terribly intelligent.
That's an excellent insight. That makes a lot of sense. I'd be interested to see if that actually is the case, because I actually I have always kind of had to fight with linguistic elitism, I guess you might call it, where like the way I learned language, that's the correct way, and anyone that does it differently is an idiot.
Yeah.
And like
I struggle with that too, actually.
Normally it's just like playful stuff where it's like, oh, you Americans and your laziness without putting the U in color.
I was gonna say you need more U's in this.
Yeah,
like you have it, use it for goodness sake.
But it's like it's not a necessary letter. It doesn't actually tell you anything about how to pronounce the word. It's like I can completely see the argument for getting rid of it. But at the same time, I still use it. It's
supposed to be there, yeah.
Yeah, and it annoys me when spell check gives me issues for that. But like, yeah, I've had to like make an active effort to be like, okay, well, this person is not typing in a way that is grammatically correct, but I don't know why they're doing that. Maybe they don't speak English as their first language, and this is their attempt. Like they're doing better at English than I would do at their language, guaranteed, because I don't speak it. So like there could be a lot of reasons for that. Like maybe it's just like maybe it is carelessness. But who cares? As long as I understood what they are trying to say, then
their language has
the
done
formatting
its job
is secondary. And like there is something to be said for, especially like if you're writing articles or like something that's going to be published, there is something to be said for like using the proper grammar and punctuation and all that, because then that's going to be the most clear to the most people. But like in one-on-one conversations, like who cares if you capitalize after the period or not?
Yeah.
Like as long as we all know what you're talking about. Meta, how do you spell that? Oh, I thought that was meta for a second. I don't know. What is meta?
Alma mater is what they're...
Alma mater? Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a response to... I just got an ad for my alma mater. Alma mater? Mata. Okay, that's now one of those words that I have thought about too much, and so I won't be able to even say it ever again. I have that vague. I can't say vague properly. Because there was one video where I said it like 5 times, and my pronunciation just kind of slipped a little bit in between them, and I got so many comments about it that now every time I say the word vague, I think of that, and it gets me in my own head, and so it comes out like the A is just too A-ish. I guess.
Vague. See, now I'm worried that I say it wrong as well.
It spreads. Okay, so yeah, I just thought that was an interesting perspective on the
it is.
On the AI thing. So now I promised puppies.
Puppies.
So let's get some puppies. There's science with the puppies. This is from CNN. Puppies are born ready to interact with people, study finds.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is actually very interesting too. I haven't actually watched this video, so I apologize if there's anything like inappropriate or whatever, but there's puppies, so I'm going to press play. Turn down the volume because it's probably going to blow all our eardrums out. And despite what this little buffering wheel would suggest, I actually do have pretty good internet here. I don't know why this is taking forever. Something went wrong during native playback. This is the story of my life tonight.
No puppies for us.
Oh, let's see. Test address to the world. That was stupid. I'll have to edit that out at the end. Oh.
It's been a day.
Yeah. I doxed myself. There we go. Okay, I'm just gonna keep going. Puppies Puppies are primed to communicate with you soon after their birth. Puppies will look at and return a person's social gaze and successfully use information given by that person in a social context from a very young age, all prior to any extensive experience with people. So,
Wow.
so they're talking about like returning your gaze. So like when I look at the dog
It will look back at
looks
you.
back at you and makes eye contact and like does it socially. Like cats do that too. Like that's cats are very much not expressive like dogs are, but like they love eye contact. You make eye contact with a cat, it loves you.
It's yours for life.
Yeah. Well, I mean, assuming it returns the eye contact, it might just ignore you. But I actually saw an article once that, like, it compared that to like eye contact for cats is like kissing for people, so it's like very intimate to them, and so that's why you can that's why cats don't really necessarily feel the need to cuddle or whatever. They give you little kisses by looking you in the eye.
Oh.
Okay, so they did 2 tasks. One of them was the eye contact one, and then the other one was following a hand gesture, so like pointing to like, so the researcher would point to a cup, and if the puppy went to the cup, there would be a treat underneath for it. So there's 2 cups, one with a treat, one without, and they'd point at the one with the treat. And they found the puppies chose the right cup about 70% of the time.
Wow.
So not perfect, but significantly
but
better than chance.
pretty high for babies.
Someone spelled nipple. I don't know why, but
Why not?
why not? I'm actually listening to Good Omens right now, and
Wonderful.
yeah, if you don't know why nipples made me think of that, then you need to listen to the audiobook for that, read the book for that, or watch the show.
I was going to say, then watch the show and be prepared for season 2.
Is it actually coming?
It is. I don't know when, but they've said it's definitely happening.
It's like they got child actors there. The problem with child actors in these streaming shows is that
grow
kids
up.
grow up. Like you gotta get the filming done before they grow up. Yeah, no, it's such a good show. And so
amazing.
the audiobook that I'm listening to, it's the BBC production, so they got a lot of the actors from the actual show, like David Tennant and
nice.
what's his name, Michael Sheen.
Yep.
David Tennant and Michael Sheen are both Aziraphale and Crowley. They got Arthur Darvill. I think they got him playing Pulsiver.
Perfect.
I'm not sure because I'm not sure. I haven't actually looked at who he's playing, and it's been a while since I've actually heard his voice. But he strikes me as a Pulsiver kind of character. Like that character fits him.
That's amazing.
Anyway, so yeah, they have the Witchfinder army in Good Omens, and one of the questions is how many nipples do you have? Because witches have extra nipples. All right. Anyway, puppies were highly skillful at following a person's cues of pointing and looking at just one of the cups where the treat was hidden, and there was no evidence that their performance required learning to do so. So this wasn't they didn't train them to do this. The puppies just knew that when you point, that's
what you do.
That's what you do. So somehow, puppies are better at responding to human interactions than human babies are. Like that's a milestone when you're a parent. It's like, oh, the baby figured out that when you point, you're not
supposed to look.
Like you're supposed to look where you're pointing, not at your finger. Like that's a big milestone for a human baby. You got to teach them that. They don't just know that.
Puppies are born knowing that shit.
So puppies are better at being people than people are. And that's true. That's just true across the board. Puppies are good people.
They are.
And then more than 40% of the variation in a puppy's ability to follow a human finger point or gaze could be explained by the genes that they've inherited. So they were actually able to in this because the dogs they're using are service dogs, where they have a very detailed record of their heritage, their genetic lineage and everything, so they know what genes they have and what genes they don't have. So they were able to like statistically calculate that like this ability, like it's a mix of genetic and environmental, as so many things are.
Mm.
but there is a significant genetic impact there where they are genetically inclined to understand this sort of thing. And also, apparently baby talk at your dogs actually helps them, like, with training and learning and stuff.
Oh, wow.
So, like, when, who's a good boy, who's a good boy, like, that actually helps the dogs.
Huh.
So when you see someone talking like an idiot at their dog, it's because they know what they're doing with their
does actually
training.
work. Interesting.
Yeah, so and it helps for human babies as well. It actually helps human babies develop actual language. So before I had kids, I was like, nah, talking like a baby at your baby is kind of stupid, isn't it? And then I started doing it because when you see a cute baby, you go, oh, here's a cute little baby. But no, it actually does help them learn language, because
I didn't know that.
Well, if you think about it, it makes sense, because like what's the first way that a baby communicates? It makes these silly little noises.
Baby talk. Yeah,
baby talk. So like it's like a stepping stone, where it's like, this version of baby talk gets me more food or whatever. Oh, I don't know how true this is. This sounds like one of those legendary stories, where there's a story that kangaroo means your finger because the Aboriginals that provided the word misunderstood what the European was asking. That's one of those stories that I feel like it feels like something that would happen. Like I know for a fact that stuff like that has happened. Like the word Canada means welcome to our village, because when the white guys showed up, they said, what's this place called? And they didn't know they were asking for its name. They were just like, welcome.
Hi, welcome. Nice to have you.
But isn't that just so appropriate for Canada, though? Like, with our reputation as just being nice people. Our name literally means welcome to my village. But yeah, so that's one of those things where I could see somebody making that up because it sounds plausible, but I could also see that actually being true because it's plausible. And then they went on to say environment played a role. So the team followed 160 of the puppies to adulthood, and no surprise, they got better at following the human clues as they got older, like even the ones that weren't born with the ability. But what they're saying is that this could give us things to look for in puppies when determining which puppies should be trained as service dogs.
Interesting.
So like the ones that start out with this innate ability to communicate with humans will probably be easier to train as a service dog.
That's very smart. I wonder if it varies by breed.
That's one of those
I don't know how much breed actually plays a part in inherent doggishness.
It's a mixed bag. It's not as genetic as a lot of people think, but there is definitely genetic components there. But absolutely, the breeds that everybody's afraid of, if they're raised right, there's no reason to be afraid of them. Like I've never owned a dog myself, but I've known people that own pit bulls, and the pit bulls were just lovely dogs.
My kid's mum has always had pit bulls, and they are the sweetest. I mean, she trains them really well, but they're the sweetest, cuddliest teddy bear dogs.
But if you raise them to fight, then they're going to fight.
They're going to be aggressive.
Scott Dillahunt says Kanata, if I remember the heritage moment correctly. I also remember that heritage moment. You're probably not familiar with it. These were TV spots that would be like a part of our heritage, and it'd show something Canadian. That is like
picture of a moose just walking majestically across a peat bog.
A lot of the times it was like significant discoveries that were made by Canadians. Like the one that I remember most is the neurosurgeon who figured out the smelling toast being a warning sign for is it a stroke when you smell toast when you're having?
I've never heard that.
You never heard that you smell burnt toast when you're having a stroke? Really?
But I will pay attention if I smell burnt toast. I believe it's a thing. It's I'm not the most aware of people.
Yeah, no, it's a stroke. So the guy who actually isolated that in the brain was a Canadian neurosurgeon, and I remember that heritage moment because they have like the they have the surgery set up, and the woman's like when people are doing brain surgery, they're conscious so that they can you actually have to be. so that you can,
no, I believe it,
so
but
you can
oh dear God.
communicate with the doctor what you're experiencing, because they're poking around with your experiences right there. And so like it's just whoever they got to act it just like acted the shit out of it. It was just like, I smell it, doctor. I smell the burnt toast. It was just so excited for it. It was hilarious. But yeah, that's a part of Canadian culture, is these a part of our heritage moments where like there's just these quick little videos. But yeah, so that's the news items.
They were interesting news items. I was going to say good, but the first one possibly not good.
Well, I feel
interesting.
I feel like I was able to address the issue without getting all depressed about the issue.
Yeah, and I feel like I now
like,
have ammunition for conversations that may happen with people in my social circles. Not ammunition, but
like,
did you know
that Focus on the Family was
originally pro-abortion?
Like, not strongly pro-abortion, but they were pro-abortion.
You know, they didn't come out against it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like basically every massive event. Okay, we're talking about the first item. Anyway, let's get to tweets.
Hooray!
Okay.
Crazy people on the internet.
Well, there's one from Donald Trump here.
Oh, goody. Is he allowed back on Twitter?
No. I signed up for a truth. So I have a policy, because I've been burned by it a couple times, where I will not save other people's screenshots. I have to find it myself.
Find your own.
So even if it's something that like it's being shared by someone that I trust, and the tweet is now deleted, so I can't go back and see it. If I didn't see the tweet originally, I don't share the screen. It's just mine. I have to either take it myself, or I have to have seen the tweet myself, like the actual tweet. So I saw people posting what Trump was posting on Truth Social, and I was like, okay, well, I want to use some of this.
Now I have to log on.
But I have to go look to make sure it's real. And it is. Every single one was real. Every single one. I only picked one, but yeah, so I have a Truth Social account now.
Congratulations.
Anyway, this is Costy W. Hin says, still rejoicing in wake of a Roe versus Wade being overturned. May the Lord work mightily through this, as he already has. Keep rejoicing, keep praying, keep enduring. Now, the thing I find interesting about this, though, is if you consider this the Lord's work, then what was the Lord doing when Roe versus Wade passed in the first place?
That would be my question. Yeah. Clearly it was the devil, or no, because then it would be the devil defeating God. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Like
maybe it was a deliberate choice on the part of God, so that more people would come to see the evils of abortion.
Oh no, I got it.
Yeah.
God was using abortion to refocus the evangelicals away from the segregation issue. But see, the problem with reasoning things like that is that so if you believe that Roe versus Wade being overturned is the work of God, then that means Supreme Court decisions are in the realm of things that God will decide on himself, which means that when Roe versus Wade first happened, that was also the work of God. That was also
God.
So that means whatever good that God was supposed to get out of Roe versus Wade being passed, it was worth murdering 600 million babies, or whatever the number is that they always pull out. So it's just like it.
There's a Catholic church down the road from us that has all these little white crosses on their front lawn, and they're right on a main highway, just little white crosses, there's a sign saying "in memory of the unborn" or like something, and I'm like, what is wrong with you?
There's one that's not too far away from here that they actually did like one cross per like abortion. Like statistically how many abortions happen in their area, so that like they tried to actually make it local, and it's not a very big area either, so it's like that's kind of that's sketchy.
Yeah.
And we have this was fun. Did you see this one when it originally happened? The Representative Daryl Issa says, just when you think Biden's record can't get worse, only this fiscal year the Border Patrol has arrested 50 people on the FBI's terror watch list.
And I was very, very confused. Is he not arresting enough people on the FBI terror watch list?
That's more than the
Is he
previous
arresting
5 years
too
combined.
many on the terror watch list? I don't know how this is yes.
Yeah, so so if you take this guy at his word, then that means that Biden has arrested more terrorists in 6 months than Trump arrested in his entire term.
presidency.
Aren't these guys supposed to be the law and order people that are all like,
Yeah. And they like build a wall and stop immigrants but yes.
yeah, like I don't even understand what he was going for here. Like
No,
when
I don't know.
I first saw this, I actually had to look him up to make sure he was a Republican.
Yeah.
Because like my first thought was like, oh, this is a Democrat trying to show something that Biden has done right. But then
Maybe
it's like,
he's just
but then it's
very
like his record can't
confused.
get worse. I don't know. This was, yeah, I just thought it was hilarious.
It was amusing. Amusing and confusing.
I love how Twitter has Issa at 15% normal. So that's the bot sentinel thing, which is it's basically the higher the percentage, the less seriously you have to take the person. I don't know how, but recently my score has gone up to like 20%. I used to hover around 10. I think probably like I've been getting pissed off about Supreme Court stuff recently, and it's been creeping up as I've been posting about that. So I don't know. I've actually deleted Twitter from my phone.
So have I.
On the advice of my therapist, because it's just this massive time sink that is pulling me out of other stuff. Yeah. So if I'm on Twitter less in the coming months, that's why. But yeah, it's also a part of my job though, so I'll still be on it. Maybe my score will go down if I don't have easy access to it. Yeah, Bot Sentinel's not actually really great at telling who's a bot and who's not, but it is good at telling who's a troll, generally. Donald Trump hit 100% on it for a brief moment before he got banned.
That's not terribly surprising, if I'm very honest.
I found it funny. Losing My Mind says, leftists, you can't not have pronouns. Everyone has pronouns. Also leftist, I'm asexual. It's like, yeah?
Who's saying that they don't have
Do
pronouns?
Asexual people not have pronouns?
I mean,
like
maybe.
Isn't the I there a pronoun? I'm asexual?
Yes.
Like, I mean, I'm not great at the grammar, so like I might misidentify something as a pronoun that's not, but I'm pretty sure that asexual people can be he, him, they, them, she, her.
I don't think this person knows what a pronoun is.
No. I mean, like...
Or indeed sexuality.
Well, I just admitted that I don't have a great understanding of it, because I hate grammar. I do grammar by the seat of my pants. I don't know what anything's called. But, like, at least I know that everybody has pronouns.
Yeah, those are just those two statements that, yeah, that's like a massive non sequitur.
We have speak Japanese, pronouns are optional. See,
we just should all learn Japanese.
And up until recently, I thought I could pronounce Japanese.
Everyone except Vice can speak Japanese.
Hey, restaurant I used to work at, we had a lot of Japanese tours coming through, and they, like, it's a tour group. They don't really speak English. Their tour guide speaks English, and so it's like the kind of go-between. So I learned a few key phrases in Japanese, like "doitashimashite" is "you're welcome." There was "oyasumi nasai," I think was it was one of the respectful goodbyes, like have a like not just goodbye, but like have a good evening or something like that. But yeah, and there was we had one server who is from Japan, so he spoke Japanese fluently. So he was always it was always good to have him on when the Japanese tours were in, and he would like give us these things to remember it. So like "doitashimashite" is "don't touch my mustache," and "oyasumi nasai" is like if you're angry at somebody, you'd be, "Oh yeah, sue me," and then Nasai was just Nasai. But Yeah, that's the extent of my Japanese knowledge. Well, no, baka is stupid. I know that because I went to a high school that had a couple Japanese students, so of course we learned how to insult each other. And
It's the traditional way that teenagers relate to each other.
no, we so the high school I went to had a dormitory, and we had students from all over the world. So I can insult you in 5 languages. I can't say anything else in most of those languages. Done. In the name of Jesus, says. God. So this, I have supporting documents for this one. So this is about the January 6th trial. He says, hearsay is never accepted as testimony. I remember playing a game as a child where we say something to the child next to us and they pass it on by the time it reaches the last child. It is not at all what was originally said. Yeah, that's a telephone game. We all know that.
I was going to say that's a very long way of saying the telephone game.
Yeah. But yeah, so to focus on the hearsay is never accepted as testimony.
This isn't a trial.
What? Okay, not only that, but it usually
also isn't hearsay.
It usually
it's
is accepted.
Eyewitness testimony.
Well, no, I think what they're getting at was like this was just today, so this was probably with regards to the surprise witness that showed up yesterday, because a lot of her testimony was, I heard Mark Meadows say this, I heard so and so say that, but all right, so obviously not a trial, so absolutely it's fine. Like if it comes to criminal trial, then we'll have to worry about hearsay exceptions or whatever. But actually most of the time hearsay is accepted in a court. It's actually very rare for it to not be accepted. They do have to like submit a hearsay exception to show that it's one of the acceptable forms of hearsay. But one of the acceptable forms of hearsay is excited utterances, which are closely related to the present sense of impression. Present sense impression is the hearsay exception for an excited utterance. The requirements for this exception apply is that there must have been a startling event, and the declarant made the statement well under the excitement or stress of the event. So all the times when she testified that I heard Mark Meadows say, "Oh fuck, we're all going to get arrested," that's an excited utterance.
I would say so.
And like the present sense impression, so that's very similar to an excited utterance. It's like when someone's like talking about their like how they're feeling about events that are unfolding right in front of them. It's almost the same thing, but it's legalese, so they have to have separate, like little bitty categories or whatever. It's like most of her testimony falls into those two things right there. So like maybe don't just dismiss things as hearsay because you saw an episode of CSI once. Watch some Legal Eagle. He'll tell you all about how often hearsay is used. Let's see. Sorry, now that I can actually like show chat messages, I'm like actually reading them. Oh, Jasa. We're getting there. We're getting there. If Trump wants to rebut the testimony, he needs to speak in front of Congress. We're not quite there yet. Kevin Sorbo. Sorbo's fun.
Oh, God.
We live in a world...
We had him last time, didn't we?
We usually have Sorbo. I think I'm sparing you a Turek this time. I don't think we have Turek. We live in a world where someone would rather kill their baby than not have sex. Also, oh, no, yeah, never mind. I was going to criticize his use of the wrong then, but I misread it. He used the correct then. Also, remember what I said earlier about giving people a pass for their grammar as long as it's understandable?
He doesn't get a pass on anything.
Yeah. So, I mean, the main issue here is with your definition of baby. Because, it's not a baby.
It's just... I feel like so many people either don't have a basic understanding of human biology or do have it and are just willingly using incorrect language to make an emotional point that has zero basis in actual reality and fact. and it's dumb and stupid, and I hate it.
Yeah. Well, okay, so actually I've bit of a cute kid story. While I was putting the kids to bed today, we were roughhousing a little bit, and my daughter ended up kneeing me in the balls, and it hurt, and I went, oh, I like did that whole thing. And then the joke that we came from that is, if you're, for those of you who are unaware, I have had a vasectomy, so I'm no more kids for me. So our joke was that like she just reversed it, so like. But yeah, like, no, there are precautions that you can take so that you don't end up with a baby.
Like condoms.
Yeah. And
if you
like,
don't feel like a vasectomy.
Those are things that these people are against as well, generally. And like.
So we're not allowed to use contraceptives.
Nope.
We're not allowed to have sex outside of marriage.
And when you have sex inside of marriage, it has to be
you should do it for the purposes of procreation. And procreation only.
Yeah, just ignore all of the scientific research on how good sex can be for you, like in a loving relationship for your mental health.
Just, oh my God, these people are dumb. Like I said, stupid, dumb and stupid.
Jassa says Megan's words work for Kevin. He's stupid and I hate him.
I think I said this last time. I loved The Adventures of Hercules when I was a kid so much. And then when I got on Twitter and found him, it was like a minor heartbreak.
Did you know he did a stint building furniture in Hamilton, Ontario, like an hour away from me?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, just for a bit. You could go to a furniture
to get
store
closer
in Hamilton.
To Jesus, or
I don't know, but like you could go
who knows? Buy
a chair built by Hercules.
Yeah, pro-forced birth. That's exactly what it is. It's not pro-life. It's pro-forced birth.
Flaming Cow Juice says also no masturbation. Yeah, these people are always against masturbation as well. But it's like, it's pretty...
Like, if you're against masturbation, then don't masturbate. Yeah. It's very easy.
Well...
Don't police everyone else.
It's
in their own masturbatory
It's
habits.
Very easy for some people.
But it's possible. It's within the realms of possibility.
But also, just speaking from the male perspective, it is so well accepted right now that like having regular orgasms is good for your prostate. So like it's healthy.
Yeah. But God doesn't like it, Feist.
No, God doesn't like us to be healthy.
I don't know why, and I don't know where the hell they get that from in the Bible, because I'm relatively sure. Well,
the only place the Bible mentions anything that can even be construed as masturbation is the story of Onan, and that's actually not masturbation even a little bit. It's just that he spilled his seed on the ground. But it's not like he was masturbating instead of sleeping with who he was supposed to be sleeping with. It was he pulled out. So they take the pull-out method of contraception as a condemnation of masturbation. And it wasn't even a general command. It was just in that one specific instance when you're supposed to be impregnating your dead brother's wife.
That's a sentence.
That's the story of Onan.
Yeah.
God struck Onan down and killed him because he was not willing to impregnate his dead brother's wife, but he was willing to have sex with her. Because men are the worst. Oh, some Brenna says, I love Dark Matter 2525's take on that Bible story. I don't remember that one. I'm sure he's done it. I like his the biblical baby mamas one.
Dark Matter is hilarious.
Yes. There's a reason it's called coitus interruptus. It's not sex if it doesn't end with an orgasm. Oh, how many teenagers have used that?
Oh my goodness, so many. So many.
Like all of them.
Like what blows my mind, wait, it doesn't really blow my mind. It's so dumb because none of the stuff that we've talked about, but also no sex education.
Yeah.
So you're not allowed to do any of it, and you're not allowed to talk about any of it. So then you just get a whole bunch of pregnant teenagers who are very confused about what the fuck just happened.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, Ah, yeah, dumb, and I hate it. Hmm.
I think they're trying to edge everybody, says Hollyhock. Yeah, at least edging could be, if edging is done on purpose and for fun, it can be fun. So if that's what you're into, go for it, but don't like force everybody else into it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so this was a response to the we live in a world where someone would rather kill their baby than not have sex. Someone was like, Medicaid covers IUDs for people using the but these women don't have access arguments. Like, yeah, so contraceptive is a thing that exists and should absolutely be used by people who don't want kids, but they don't always work properly.
They don't, and
My third child is an IUD baby.
yeah, it happens. And like some people can't have IUDs, and actually birth control, like medical birth control, can have a whole host of side effects that aren't always suitable or acceptable. And condoms split people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like we're allowed to give kids lessons in how to put them on in schools anymore. So
Oh yeah, showing it going on a banana is way too sexual. That would be grooming.
yes.
Yeah. Well,
Having said that, I am 100% in favor of free and freely available contraception in all forms. I would also quite like them to release something for men that is not condoms, because they have been developed, they do exist, but the medical side effects were deemed too high. Although I believe I read somewhere that they were minor compared to what women are permitted to experience in their own birth control.
no, I saw more of a deep dive on that. It wasn't minor compared to the women's birth control. Like there were actual like serious
like actual problems. Okay.
concerns. Yeah, that said, I would absolutely love for there to be a male version of the pill. I'm not saying this to be like, oh no, we shouldn't research that.
But it's good to know that that's
keep researching it. But yeah, no,
correct.
that was a narrative that kind of went around because that is kind of like, because let's face it, if men had to face the exact same side effects and severity as women did for birth control, they'd still make a fuss about it. But that wasn't what happened in this instance.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but that actually, like with my vasectomy, I can kind of like, I can kind of empathize better since the vasectomy with the point of view of people who can get pregnant and how much of a responsibility that is. Because when I got my vasectomy, Mrs. Rhino and I actually were in disagreement about how many kids we were going to have. Like she actually wanted 4, and I'm like, no, I'm happy with the 3. And now I do not say this, she would never have like tricked me by going off her pill or anything like that. She wouldn't have done any shenanigans like that. Like we were both of the opinion that like if we have a 4th kid, we both have to agree on it.
Choice.
We have to deliberately choose to have a 4th kid. But because like my 3rd kid we were on contraception and it didn't work, it was just such a sigh of relief when it's like, okay, well, like and I think it was like the 3-month appointment, you get the sperm count done. It's like, okay, yes, I am infertile. Yes. And like, so I can, obviously it's different. It's very, very different, but I can empathize with how, like how freeing it feels to not have to worry about that. Like to know, like I know that I have taken care of that. Whatever future partners I may have going on, I'm not gonna father any more kids, no matter what. Unless my daughter kicked me in the balls. I mean, like even vasectomies though, they're not 100%. They can spontaneously reverse themselves. I think at the point that I'm at, like if it was going to happen, like I think they happen within like the first like 7 or 8 months or something. But yeah, so yeah, I'm all for male birth control. I'm all for female birth control. I'm all for all the birth control. And when the birth control doesn't work, I'm all for the abortions.
All for ability to get abortions, right?
Because every child should be a wanted child.
Yeah. And you and I both said this last time. We're both parents. Like, you should not ever force someone to have a child who does not fully want that child.
Yes.
In no way is that
pregnancy sucks.
ethical. Oh dear God. My last pregnancy was a twin pregnancy, and Jesus Christ. Not going through that again.
Some Brenna says only date post-menopausal women.
Also a good choice.
Okay. Next tweet. Donald Trump says, I demand equal time. Sent. I'm not sure if this is while the hearings were airing or if, like while he was watching them later. But it's like, you know how you can get more time?
You can just
buddy?
go. I'm sure they'd
can,
be thrilled to listen to you.
If you agree to like swear in and give testimony, they would be happy to have you, buddy. Like, you don't need to demand it. You can just show up. Like, and he likes to do power trip stuff. I betcha if he showed up at the houses of Congress, like just randomly without announcing it and just being like, hey, I'll testify now, all the people on that committee would just drop everything immediately and
be like, give me 5 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be right there. Come testify for sure. So he can do one of those power trip moves that like makes them bend to his whim in order to get his testimony out there like that. So like, yeah, there's nothing stopping him from getting in front of the cameras. Except for the fact, well, probably his lawyers are stopping him because they know that that would be a disaster for him.
Oh. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And oop, no, wrong button. Ah, there we go. Yeah. So Trump is our last tweet, and I just thought that was funny.
It's just the victim complex is so strong. Like, honey, just go talk to them. They would. Yeah. No one is stopping you, and well, I mean, like you said, apart from your lawyers, no one is stopping you. You can just go.
Do you think his lawyers had to lie to him to get him to not go?
I don't know. Like, I really don't know.
Like, do you think they're there telling him like, no, they're not allowing you to testify.
You're not allowed.
You're not allowed to go. Like, because like we've seen, like we now know that he chokes his Secret Service agents when they don't drive where he wants them to drive. So like, instead of his, like, if I was his lawyer, I'd be like, I don't want to tell him the truth. Yeah,
right.
I don't want.
You're not allowed to do it. Just someone else is not allowing you to do it. It's not my choice.
Somebody else is stopping you from.
It's the Democrats.
Did you see? I can't believe this is true, but at the same time, I can absolutely see it being true. But apparently, like when he was in the White House, he would demand that they fix the Gorilla channel. And so there were staffers that were like putting together gorilla documentaries and like broadcasting it as a special channel so that he could watch the gorillas.
What?
I don't know. I saw a post about it. It read like one of those posts that was designed to be like it's just a little bit too absurd, so it's probably fake.
But also,
like, it's also very plausible, and you can see him doing that. So I'm pretty sure that's fake, but it's still a fun story.
That is, yeah. I want a gorilla channel, actually. I would just have it playing in the background. Gorillas.
Yeah, gorillas are fun. They're so human, too. Like, if you ever watch young gorillas playing with each other,
it's like my house on a Friday afternoon.
Yeah, the way they roughhouse, the way they like, and you can see the point where Kitty almost didn't make an appearance tonight, but there's her butthole right there. Yeah, so like the way they play with each other, and then you can see when it hits the point where like it's crossed a line, and you can see the mama gorillas over there like looking like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to intervene soon, and
be gentle with your brother. He's smaller than you.
Yeah, and it's so human. Like, it's exactly the same way as our kids behave. And like, I don't like. I'm not saying that to disparage my kids. But
no, but they're kids. And...
Yeah, my kids are a bunch of gorillas. My daughter is right out there. So
my kids are also a bunch of gorillas.
Yeah.
4 of the 5 definitely are.
Yeah, and the creationists don't think that we're great apes. Like, just go watch the
No, we're
gorillas
definitely
play
not.
for a few minutes. Like, it's impossible to not see. Okay, so there's a woman that I went to school with that we used to joke that my wife stole all my friends
Mhm.
because like she was in my friend group and then my wife showed up later and she hang out with her and but not me anymore.
Mhm.
And so we ended up going to the zoo with her and her husband this one time, and I don't know about her, she probably is as well, but like her husband, very vocal creationist, like going around talking about like, oh, they say birds are dinosaurs, that's just ridiculous, isn't it? And like scoffing at all the signs. But when we got to the gorillas, he stopped and he was like, wow, they're just like people. And like just
No shit.
no sense of irony. I'm just looking at him like, yeah, you know why? Because we're in the same group. Anyway, my daughter is right outside, so we should probably end the stream.
Well, it's been a joy.
It has. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it.
Oh, always fun.
And yeah, have a good night, everyone. I still haven't figured out how to end these things, so I'm just going to push the button.
Bye.
Bye.